Buckle up for another episode of Ghost Facers, a supernatural rewatch podcast. My name is Richard, and sitting shotgun, as always, is my brother in podcasting, Reid.
Hey, so excited to be talking about Season 3, Episode 1 of Season 3. Here we go.
So,
we're starting with Season 3. We did the finale of Season 2 last week. We're doing Season 3 premiere this week.
That's
baby!
Tiny little hiccup. We can't do that episode right now.
Season
Long
3.
story explaining, but we
Nothing
can't.
comes between Season 2 and Season 3.
Except for this now, because we're gonna put it on sort of like a conversational bridging gap episode. It'll to talk about what we liked about the show, and because we didn't do it like we
You
did in
mean
season
we get
1.
to spend one more episode in Season 2?
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Ghost Facers! We face a ghost, when others will not, we're Ghost Facers! Stay in the kitchen when the kitchen gets hot. Ghost Facers! We face a nightmare, we face a dread. Ghost Facers! We face a faceless, we face a dead.
Welcome to Ghost Faces. Today we're discussing all of season 2.
Oh my God.
That's right, baby. Not any specific episode, but all of them.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the first season, in our Season 1 finale episode, we did kind of look back and do a little bit of season recap, but the way we recorded Season 2, we had an amazing guest for the finale, Ivan Hayden, but also we recorded it like months early, so we actually hadn't revisited our own thoughts on most of Season 2 yet, so it didn't make sense to throw it in there.
Yeah, it's not because of a scheduling mishap.
Well, no, this was always the plan.
Yeah, always the plan, much like everything we do.
Don't you ever pull the curtain back again.
Sorry, Daddy likes a little mystery.
Yeah, but I thought this was my idea.
Yeah.
I thought this would be good to do.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really the brains of the operation.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Speaking of you're welcome.
That was so easy for me to claim it as my idea.
100%.
I didn't even realize it was happening until I said it.
Yeah, all the truths in your brain are just lies that you've convinced yourself.
Yeah. And that's why I'm the dean.
Yeah. We got a review. We have a review from Brad Sam Squanch Rickett.
Oh. Ooh.
We're ready, Brad Sam Squanch Rickett. Woohoo!
Fully alienating him.
You don't choose a name like Sam Squanch Rickett if you don't expect
He
it.
comes from a long line of Sam Squanch Ricketts.
Yeah, that's right. It feels like a thing that...
My great-grandpappy was a Sam Squanch Rickett.
I feel like that's like when you walk in the woods for too long, you get the Sam Squanch Ricketts. From Apple Podcast via USA.
USA.
Yeah.
USA.
Yeah, that's the type of energy we're coming to the table with today.
You know, who gives a shit?
Oh my God. With the subject, the boys are back in town.
Fuck yeah.
They go on
Does that mean us?
I don't know.
Okay.
Are we boys?
I mean, do you think we're cool enough?
There's the amount of porky pigging you just did there.
The boys are back in town.
Yeah. Yeah. We are definitely boys. Yeah, absolutely. They go on to say, if you want to listen to a couple of studs talk extensively about a show involving a couple of studs, then you've arrived just in time.
Oh, yeah. Just wait until you hear our This Old House podcast. Then there's going to be one more layer of studs in there.
Oh, I mean...
couple of studs, talking about those studs, using a stud finder to find those studs in the wall.
what was that host name for forever, too?
What, Bob Vila?
Yeah, there's a stud, too.
Yeah, oh, my God.
Yeah, we're full of studs.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting nailed. They go on to continue to say, these guys start things off with a pleasing overview of each show to get that blood pumping, while strategically edging in, definitely edging, in a few of their own teasing personal opinions before going elbow deep into the lore, folklore, and urban legends that each episode of Supernatural is based on.
My God.
If you prefer your podcast teeming with enough humor to tickle your humorous, then strap on those diving gloves.
Strap on, oh boy.
And let these two Canadians take you on a bumpy ride into the fringes of televised programming land. Come for the bromance, stay for the much anticipated Supernatural sweet release.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm pretty hot listening to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, make more when you're sending reviews, make them more sexy like this.
Yeah. Please. Let the reviews be as hot as the TV show and the characters within them.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. I want to both complete the episode.
I want a review equivalent of Sam and that werewolf.
Oh, I got some info about that today.
What? That we didn't cover?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Today, I'm going to be bringing a whole bunch of recaps. We're basically going to recap the whole season, but also I found some new tidbits and things like that.
I
we
like that.
I took some deeper dives because I wanted to.
So would you say you're up to the shoulder now?
I'm drowning in content.
Oh God, the content's on your face.
Step content.
His content was stuck in the dryer.
Yeah. I wanted this content so bad.
Jesus Christ.
I'd do anything.
We are so fucking filthy.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
I mean, I'm sure there was. Was it just a gradual, or like was there a specific tipping point?
I don't know. I don't remember anymore. I can't remember who I used to be before it was this.
I mean, if you're talking about this specific podcast, I think that
we were always kind of filthy.
But
when did we get filthy?
Juicebox
was dead. Yeah, you're right.
That's when things got like off the rails filthy.
Listen, we'll talk about the guests because that was a new season 2 thing for us.
Yes.
But how do you want to kick us off into
let's talk
into a season 2 recap
like we would for every episode. Let's talk a bit about the season and some of the general information about it. Supernatural was renewed for a second season by the CW on May 18th 2006.
Tight.
The season consisted of 22 episodes and air on Thursdays at 9 p.m. EST.
And it was like consistently Thursday for this season. They weren't getting bounced around in slots or anything.
No.
Thursday just was their time, finally.
Yeah. The season premiered on September 28th, 2006 with In My Time of Dying and ended on May 17th, 2007 with All Hell Breaks Loose Part 2.
Oh, yeah.
The season had an average of 3.14 million viewers.
Which is awesome.
It's good. I mean, it's a bit low for that time frame, but...
Right.
But for now, it's pretty good. The main antagonist of season 2 was the Yellow-Eyed Demon, and the second antagonist are the Special Children themselves and Gordon Walker.
Yeah, definitely.
This is the first season to air on the CW.
Right, because it was the WB for season 1.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
And this season also marks the first appearance of an Archangel, Crossroad Demons, the Jinn, Hellhounds, Special Children.
What a fucking spoiler.
Rakshakas,
Look what you're doing.
Werewolves,
Did
and
you
zombies.
listen to yourself?
What?
Crazy spoiler in there.
What? I mean, who knows?
Fine, we won't say who it was, but holy shit, man.
Look at that. Lots of stuff happened.
Jeez Louise.
Let's
playing real fast and loose with the rules here.
Before we dive deep into this sort of an episode by episode thing, I want to sort of just talk about some interesting history that I found out about this whole season.
Sure.
When I was looking things up. So let's do first a small history lesson about some of the network drama that actually happened around the show that I found out. So Supernatural was one of the 6 WB network shows to be selected to air on their selected to air their new season on the newly formed CW network. A partnership of Time Warner, a parent of now defunct WB network, and CBS, which I didn't know.
Okay.
Parent of the now defunct UPN network.
Oh, so that's what CW stands for.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I know, I had no idea. It was the youngest of all the shows selected and remained paired with Smallville on Thursdays at 9 p.m. At the time, Thursdays at 9 p.m. was considered to be the most competitive time slot. CSI on CBS was the number one show on TV.
Right.
Grey's Anatomy on ABC was top 10 massive female magnet.
Yeah.
NBC had a big hit too with Deal or No Deal. Fox was airing the very teen-friendly The OC.
Wow. Crazy slot. Yeah.
Really, really crazy. Supernatural fought for the leftovers, and there wasn't much. It struggled. It struggled in the ratings most of the season.
I mean, God. Up against all of that, it's sort of amazing that it had the viewership it had.
Isn't that insane?
That's wild that it was up against those things.
So, despite 50% ownership of the CW, Warner Brothers conceded management of the network to partner CBS. CBS put in charge former UPN network head Don Ostroff. There was a little bit of money for promotion in the CW budget, so the network programs had little visibility to viewers, especially the shows brought over from the other networks. It didn't help that Don Ostroff's new programming development plan decided to go for the 18 to 34 female population, which largely left sci-fi shows like her number one scripted show Smallville out of the network vision. Audiences tuned into Smallville and Supernatural often to spite her, considering Smallville went 10 seasons and Supernatural is now going into 7th season when this content that I found was written.
Right.
That fan outrage seemed to have worked. Jared Jensen and Tom Welling were brought out to present together at the very first CW upfront. They looked horribly uncomfortable. However, they did get to blow the minds of the kids from Everybody Hates Chris. But so if you don't know what the upfronts are, it's basically like once a year, the network tries to basically like celebrate their shows to like advertisers and basically like get people excited for what their show. But it's mostly just for like industry than anything else.
That's right.
It's basically like drag out all of your stars and like talk about what you've got going on and things like that. From what I've heard, they're nightmares. Tom Welling never went back to the upfronts until Smallville's final season, and Jared and Jensen didn't go back until about season 7 when they were invited by new president Mark Pedowitz. So that's sort of where we're going into this season. Like they're not super well wanted there, which I didn't realize.
Which is funny because internally on the show, season 2 really finds its footing.
Yeah,
season 1 is very amorphous, real monster of the week thing. Season 2 is like has that balance really, really well.
Yeah,
between the monster of the week and like the actual story of things. Like you think of other shows or other seasons of shows that balance that really well. Flash season 1 does that.
Yeah,
you know, I would actually think more shows have it earlier and then lose it.
Yeah,
but they've like. Supernatural really nails it in second season.
Well, let's talk a bit about that because a bit about the actual production of this season. So when production of the second season started, Kripke wanted to avoid the Monster of the Week formula used in the first year.
Sure.
The writers attempted this by including more human themes, mainly the things Sam and Dean are truly afraid of, like death, grief, betrayal, etc.
Right.
So sort of making this, you're doing a bit of the monster stuff, but sort of separating it with this other sort of human element. As much as I think we all loved season 1, we actually had a pretty formulaic structure. This is Kripke speaking here.
Right.
There'd be an obituary that took that would take the guys into a town. They'd do a little research. They'd have a skirmish with the monster. They'd meet a girl. They'd have a showdown with the monster. They'd learn something about themselves, and then they'd roll out of town. Pretty much every episode had that structure, and we were worried that the viewers would get bored and the show if we did that a whole other season.
Right.
So that's specifically Kripke talking about this change to the formula.
I mean, and I think it's wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the main storylines of the season followed Sam and Dean as they tracked down the various psychic children, young adults like Sam who were visited by Azazel as infants and given abilities. However, the psychic children storyline made mythology of the second season dense and confusing for Kripke. Kripke decided instead to favor the uniquely and structurally interesting self-enclosed episodes, which sometimes arose from the writer's unused ideas. So, I mean, this is a thing that we talk about, especially for these first 2 seasons. Is Kripke's got a lot of like regret from his first seasons.
Yes.
I mean, he seems like he's probably a perfectionist and like gives himself a little hard time. And
yeah,
it's something that I've noticed a lot and will come up sort of as we go through this. But I thought it was like so funny how much he like hates on the first season.
Yeah.
How much he's just like, oh, this fucking psychic kid thing. Like,
Well, I mean, you know, I think lots of artists look back on things and go like, I wish I had done that better. But Kripke seems to be very vocal and very open about disliking choices he himself made.
yeah. And they even had some change up within the actual team of writers. Season 2 kicked off with some behind the scene changes. Richard Hatem left the show as writer and producer, and a Whedonverse writer from Angel was brought in, Ben Edlund. Supernatural was basically never the same after that. I mean, Ben Edlund is like directly tied to this show's like future in history.
Yes,
for
absolutely.
all time. Ben Edlund has gone to be basically one of Eric Kripke's closest friends and had a dramatic creative impact on this entire show. So
Totally.
this is like where we start off going into season 2 in general, from like the changing in writers to like all of this background information. It's the thing that I never knew going into it. I mean, I would have thought this is when the show sort of picked up, but it seems like the first season was really popular and this one sort of was challenged a bit based on its like time slot and its competitors and finding its audience finally. I mean, it definitely got it and everybody was really defensive of it, but
Yeah, and I mean, the show also, though, even though it was competing against crazy things and the behind the scenes stuff, like this, to watch it this season is pretty confident.
yeah.
Outwardly, like this season is like a show that knows what it is.
Yeah.
The first season is a like, which
Yeah.
I mean, it's a first season, but
Yeah, it's a proof of concept essentially, right?
think of how long, you know, I mean, Star Trek's a great example.
Yeah.
Almost every Star Trek series, I would say, even including Discovery.
Wow.
I mean, Discovery season 1 is good. It's
Yes.
solid. But when you look against season 2, you go like, oh, season 2 has a better idea of what it is.
Yeah.
And you look at like early TNG, like that first season's a little rough. Look at Deep Space Nine. It takes a couple of seasons. It's a bit rough. Voyager's a bit rough in the first season. Like all these shows, especially when you're making like 22, 26 episodes, whatever, it takes time. So for a show just immediately second season to be like, no, we know what we are.
Yeah.
And basically just nail it.
Yeah. Especially a genre show, which is like really hard to.
Because, I mean, it does change up as seasons go, but really the show we get in season 2 is essentially the show we get.
Yes.
And yeah, it evolves in that over time, but that is what it is. Season 1 is like a proto version of the show. Like when you're thinking of like the version we know and love, it starts with season 2.
Well, especially when you're talking about television back then and like basic like cable television back then, they only really wanted to buy one type of show, which was sort of a procedural sort of thing. I mean, there's a reason why CSI is the #1 show that year, because it's anybody of any age can watch any single episode completely out of order and you have a good time. And that's for them is the best way to do it, right? Because it's like we're open to all people. Anyone can watch me at any point. You can just have me on. It's easy to buy all of our episodes. Like, I think I get why. I mean, even still, like if you're talking about cable, that's basically the only type of shows that they really want to buy anymore. It's only when you're talking about like streaming networks and sort of like things like AMC and other sort of networks like that is when you really start getting sort of like some interesting shows that don't want that.
Yeah.
But because that people are buying it to watch full series rather than just turning the TV on.
Yeah.
I think it's important to recognize that. But let's talk a bit about just sort of the episodes that came this season, just sort of episode by episode. I mean, because we start strong. We ended season 1 with this giant car crash.
Yeah.
And it's cool because they literally like, it's like the second after that is what season 2 starts on.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's not like 6 months later and then we flash back to that night or something like that. Yeah.
It's a thing that you will get with many other TV series, like in their later seasons and stuff like that. But for the first season to end and then the second season to start that way, it's pretty confident of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that a lot. So it opens and it basically the Winchesters are going to a hospital. Dean's in a coma. Sam and John are trying to figure out like what are they going to do and how are they going to save Dean, as they've been basically told that he's going to die.
Is that okay? I'm confusing myself a little bit here, but is In My Time of Dying the first time we get Azazel, like that actor,
Yeah.
as the yellow-eyed demon.
Yeah, because
we meet him in that episode because he and John have a little back and forth, and I think he's meant to be like he's in the body of like a custodian at the hospital.
That hospital.
So that's the first time that actor is in there, who it was so good.
Yeah.
Because yes, first season we just get him like in
Inside
John or something, right?
So and this guy's basically trying to do a version of what John did.
Yeah. But he's so good that instead of just having him continue to body hop, they just keep bringing this guy back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, right out the gate, season 2 is doing something awesome. Just, I mean, we talk a lot about the strength of the like single episode casting.
Yeah.
And that clearly pays off because it was obviously not the plan.
Yeah.
But they were like, this guy's so good. Make sure he's the one we get back.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. And I mean, we're getting the whole families back together, which is so funny because you're like, all right, season 2, the whole family is going to be together the whole time.
And immediately they take John off the board.
It's crazy. But apparently Jeffrey Dean Morgan was actually reluctant to come back to this role because of what he had on Grey's Anatomy. He had this like star role in Grey's Anatomy.
His role on Grey's Anatomy is so fucking weird because he's in and then
ghost.
He dies and then he's in the afterlife, but not only for the person he marries Katherine Heigl's character, but he shows up in the afterlife for Meredith.
What?
There's a whole thing with a ferry crash and Meredith almost drowns and she's in like a coma and that.
I forgot that you watched
But she sees Denny, his character, there in the afterlife.
Wow.
He's there, and then even like seasons later, he's still like showing up. And then I think Katherine Heigl's character has a brain tumor, and she keeps seeing Denny. Like they keep Jeffrey Dean Morgan on Grey's Anatomy like a crazy long time after his character is fully dead.
Because I mean,
it's great gig, but wild that they pull it off.
It's so funny. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's sort of career has been so interesting because it feels like an actor that everybody's like, oh. We just planned to kind of use this guy, but he's actually way better than we thought.
And he's almost never the lead.
No.
But he's great.
Like
a real talented character actor, but the character-y stuff has been real late career for him, I would say. Before that, like I wouldn't call that role on Grey's Anatomy or anything like that, like character acting. Same with being John Winchester.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he almost just felt like he had just faded into the background because it's like, oh, he's just not a lead. But then later, he gets a Negan or he gets to be the comedian and watch him, things like that. And you go like, oh, we understand how to use this guy now. We get it.
And I think Negan was the thing that kind of put him over the edge and now people are kind of using him a bit more. I'm kind of curious to see what sort of the rest of his
I guess the closest thing to a lead was he was in The Losers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What a
him
weird
and Zoe
career.
Saldana and Chris Evans in that movie, and I think that's maybe the closest thing to a lead role. I'm obviously missing something, but
for sure. But he typically, isn't sort of the main guy. He's always this like incredible supporting actor. But it's so interesting.
He has a great, like 5 minutes as Thomas Wayne.
Yeah. Jesus,
Martha.
So he dies in this episode because the writers specifically were worried that having him separated from his sons again, Sam and Dean spend much of the first season just trying to track him down. They were afraid that would split the show by having him basically doing way more interesting things than the boys were. I mean, that's sort of the one of the issues with
because
the whole
even that
season.
Episode in the first season where we see him working.
Yeah.
Like we're like, oh, he's good.
Yeah, let's watch that show.
Him putting the rosary and the thing to make the holy like. That episode of John doing shit, you're like, oh, he's so competent.
Thank God we're getting a spin-off series for Supernatural where he's not a hunter yet.
We can't.
Okay, we hear you.
Listen.
You want Before the Boys. We know
I'm glad
exactly
we're doing this episode because I kind of missed these talks.
Yeah.
We used to do these all the time.
We haven't actually recorded in a while.
I'd love to be involved.
So funny.
Jared Padalecki here.
Yes. So yeah, they basically didn't they didn't want him to stay on the show, so that's part of the reason why he sort of died. But it also made the most sense because
I do think it works. I mean, what a way to kick off a first season! Like lots of drama, a real emotional kind of sacrifice. It sets up a lot of stakes against Azazel and stuff like that.
We introduced the Reapers,
but it's also a stronger place for Sam and Dean as the season goes on to not have to still be chasing Dad, either literally like where did he go, or figuratively like we're not good enough. Like they're back to we only have each other. And it's a whether or not that was the plan or just a thing that they decided to do after or whatever. Very, very good choice.
Totally
worked out well.
So the next episode's basically like an intense whiplash because you go right from this episode into Everybody Loves a Clown.
Very funny episode. Very fun episode.
Yeah. But we do start with them cremating their father's body.
Yeah, like every fun episode of TV.
Super fun things, right?
Yeah.
The writers used the second season to expand upon their concept of hunters, resulting in the introduction of Harvell's Roadhouse.
We get that. Yeah, we get Ellen and Joe,
Samantha
and
Ferris,
Ash, and we got Harvell's. We're meeting more hunters. I mean, we get Gordon as I think in the episode after this one.
We get a lot of
we get the hunter funeral thing, like the pyre that they for cremating a hunter so they don't come back as something.
We get Ash.
Yeah. Love Ash.
So I didn't realize
from the Fast and the Furious.
I didn't realize that's who that was. Do they bring him back in the series?
Oh, no, he's dead.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. You don't actually see him die.
You do. He gets shot.
Yeah, but you just see his shot and then it goes away. You don't see him like,
man.
It's Fast and the Furious.
Fast and the Furious is a grounded, realistic, cinematic universe.
It was funny.
How could they reasonably bring back what's his name? Jesse or whatever?
I think my wife was probably texting you about Fast and the Furious the other day.
She said she had a theory that it takes place in the same universe as Monk, the TV show.
And Supernatural.
So,
though she was sort of distraught after she saw Ash die in Fast and the Furious, because then she was like, she was watching it and being like, oh my God, this is what he does before he goes to the Roadhouse.
He dies ugly.
Yeah, he gets shot. But I was like, it's Fast and the Furious. He could maybe come back. Or you don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he was wearing a thing. Like
don't put your like crazy soap opera bullshit on Fast and the Furious, a totally non-soapy cinematic series.
I love having him on there, though. I'm glad with Joe.
He's almost the same kind of character. He's not like computer techie, but he's like the gearhead in that movie.
Well, they were like, you're a genius. Like, did you go to MIT or something? And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to do it.
He's like, yeah, I know these guys in Kansas.
Yes. Well, no, because this is actually a year. Fast and the Furious is a year before Supernatural airs.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, but what's interesting, though, is that they were initially planning to make Joe the love interest for Dean, and I'm so glad that they backed out of that.
And we talked about that through this season.
Yeah.
You could see the awkward moments in those episodes where they're kind of positioning them, and then they finally realize. I think the episode where they realize it is the H.H. Holmes episode, the No Exit. And in that one, they realized, no, the sibling-y kind of thing works better there. And I think you're right. Way, way better. It gives a little bit of room for growth for Dean, that it's not just like any hot chick he's just immediately inside. Yes. And also it gives more room for Joe to be anyone. Yeah,
rather than just somebody who wants to fuck Dean.
It gives room to like expand the sort of history between those families and stuff. It gives some emotional growth for Dean, that he's sort of being this kind of mentor-y sort of character. It's way smarter. Again, like the Jeffrey Dean Morgan thing, whether or not it's intentional, like the Azazel thing, they're not intentional. I do feel like season 2 kind of works its way into some very strong decisions, most of which were like not what you would expect.
Totally.
By playing against that, they do themselves a lot of favors.
This episode is also the first in which both Sam and Dean cry together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at the same time at the funeral. Yeah. Apparently from the series beginning, Kripke always wanted to feature an evil clown because he felt that clowns in a context where they're not supposed to be are friggin' terrifying.
I mean, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Everything in that episode, the kid just like letting the clown inside the house, like, ugh.
terrifying.
Also, a cool monster, a Rakshasa. You know, like, again, the thing that we liked in season 1 was like, after the pilot, the next one you get is a Wendigo, and you're like, oh man, people don't like.
Yeah.
They keep vampire until way later. We don't even get a werewolf until late season 2. I love that they keep up with the like, let's go for other culture, other folklore monsters first before we go all in on like, and here's a Frankenstein, and here's a like.
Well, don't get too excited.
Other than ghosts,
Don't get too excited because I'm about to give you another classic Kripke crap out, which is to fit the series, the clown became the shape-shifting Rakshasa of Hindu mythology. This decision made the clown less satisfying to Kripke's chagrin because it limited the clown-related scenes.
I mean, yes, and I think even talked about that.
Yeah.
And I think we even talked about it in terms of holding back that episode a little bit. But also, it was just going to be a human clown.
Yeah.
Or like another fucking ghost or something.
I know.
This is better.
Yeah.
I mean, could you execute it with more clown scenes? Yes, but that doesn't mean it shouldn't be a Rakshasa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't stop Kripke from crapping.
Come on, Kripke. Like, just know when you got a good thing going.
I know. But I mean, it's the concept from this episode is terrifying.
Yes.
For sure. The next after that was Bloodlust.
We get Gordon in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I know this one for you was like one of the ones when you first watched it were like, holy shit, this show's got legs. Like,
yeah, because again, you know, we talk about the Harvells thing, but the idea of other hunters, the idea of people hearing about, like, knowing a bit about each other. This, and also the show very immediately in season 2 flipping its script and being like, are hunters bad?
Yeah.
Like, Gordon's Bloodlust, episode title, for the job is like a problem, and there's so many mirrors to Dean and all of this kind of shit, and it's like immediately in season 2 they're like, remember when we spent a whole year showing you like how cool and fucking badass they are because they saved the day and like sent a bunch of ghosts to hell? In this episode they're like, what if we've been watching the bad guys?
But also,
or it's like, what if these vamps have like another life?
Yeah.
And shit like
what
that?
if hunters aren't good and what if monsters aren't bad is what this episode does.
And the rest of the season does it. It keeps going there. And again, just, you would think this would be like a little bit later. Like, fuck, we did 2.5 seasons of the thing we did, and now we got to mix it up.
Yeah.
Now we should. But they're just like, nope, let's throw this other thing. So not only does that make you think a bit more, it gives some interesting emotional kind of moral quandaries for the boys and stuff like that, but also it immediately deepens like the lore of the world, because now we're saying there are other hunters. They don't all operate the same way.
Yep.
They have their own weird pettiness and grudges and things like that. Also, monsters have an inner life, and it's like, oh fuck. So now we got to go back through all those episodes and be like, was Bloody Mary just like, what was she trying to do? You know, like, you kind of cast your mind back and you go like, oh, fuck.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, are these monsters just lost or scared? And it's a thing that the show will continue to do, but also specifically, like, they will do in this season.
Yep. But even like, and then even in the first season, you're like, well, we got that episode, The Benders, and you're like, those people were horrible. And then you get this episode, and you're like, those vamps were fine.
Yeah.
And you go like, uh-oh.
Are we the problem?
Oh, no. Because like, Sam and Dean like will not kill people.
No.
But it's like, maybe they should. Or not even that they should, but it's like, maybe they really should not immediately kill monsters. Love that. Amazing.
I love the way that they set up.
And fucking Sterling K. Brown. Sorry.
I know. Sterling K. I mean, the way that they set up Gordon, I remember you specifically texting me and just being like, I hope he comes back.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome. This is also the episode where Jared breaks his wrist or sprains his wrist or whatever.
No, it's not.
So this is
it?
it's with the fight in the hotel.
No, it's next episode. It's the zombie one when he tackles her in the graveyard.
No, that's when he found out that it was broken.
I thought that's when it happened.
No,
and then
no.
they also had to deal with it.
No. So he actually broke his wrist in the scene of the bloodlust when Sam is fighting the vampire in the motel. He didn't know it was broken, though, until halfway through the Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things and couldn't wear a cast until they wrote it into the script, which is why he's using that shovel as a thing. Because
I just thought it also happened in that episode.
No, it happened in Bloodlust.
Oh,
But,
shit. Okay.
yeah, but he's just so fucking tough that it didn't matter.
He's so tough. He's like, can I be in your show?
Yeah. Strangely,
Sorry, Jared
wasn't the only person that on set to break their wrist during that time.
Okay.
So apparently, it happened to a prop person and someone in the office as well. Apparently it started this whole ghost rumor inside of the actual series.
Of course, love that.
Oh, so good, so good. Love that.
Which is also funny because we get that real meta Hollywood Babylon episode in this season as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now we go to Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things.
Interesting take on zombies for this one.
Yeah.
The idea of like kind of the necromancy of it is,
It's not the only time they'll do that in this series too.
No, but the bringing them back and
Yeah.
controlling kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought that was super interesting. But basically, this episode also starts with Sam burying their father's dog tags at their mother's grave. Eric Kripke, of course.
I hate this. I wish he didn't have dog tags.
Hashtag Kripke crap on.
It should have been a business card.
Yeah.
Whatever he's going to say.
He says
here.
he expressed it's a little bit more esoteric than that. But he expressed regret that they missed out on the opportunity to show Sam's grief over John's death. In his words, I feel like we did a small disservice to the character. I mean, when you think about Sam, especially throughout the whole series, the fact that he didn't like moan about this for like a season is kind of it makes sense. In classic Sam fashion, he didn't like complain and whine and be and brood about it for like 10 episodes.
No, I mean that becomes a thing with his character, but maybe it became a thing because this set the precedent.
Yes, maybe.
You know what I mean?
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh god.
Oh no, Kripke, you got the wrong thing out of it.
Yeah, maybe we got all those seasons of Dean being like, I have to do it myself because of this. Yeah.
Oh my god, I didn't even realize it. But yeah, so they basically at this grave they find out that there's like these dead plants near a recent grave, and that sort of launches out into them finding that there was like a coffin empty and
that, it's such a creepy fucking incel thing too. She didn't love me and now she's dead, so I brought her back to life and I'm fucking a corpse.
Yeah, we raping a corpse?
Well, yeah, I mean,
we go into it in the episode, but
it's dubious.
It's bad.
It's not great.
Yeah.
It's not great.
No. Anytime magic has been used for sex, it's rape.
That's probably fair.
Yeah. Also,
certainly not something I want to try and argue against.
Good call.
Yeah.
Hard left here.
I mean, argue against your point. I would argue
it's okay.
against.
It's okay. Just stop. Just breathe. Here, take this bag.
Oh, God.
Casa Erotica also makes his debut in this episode.
Oh. Amazing.
I think that is a staple for many seasons to come. The next episode is Simon Said.
Another mind control thing, a different kind of mind control this time, because this is
a great episode.
This is us getting another one
Andy.
of the kids, the demon kids.
Yeah, they're basically this fucking rad dude.
Andy and his weird, like, you didn't know I was your brother. We're going to be together forever.
Yeah.
Fucking guy.
Great casting with that, though.
This episode's got some great humor, though. Like, the fact that Andy's just, like, walking around town in a bathrobe because he can make people do whatever he wants. He makes Dean, he's like, oh, can I have your card?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Here, you have a fun day. Like,
that's a really good moment.
There is, I mean,
it's got a very tense finale, like on that bridge or dam or whatever. And yeah, the idea of that kind of Purple Man style
Yeah.
mind control where you say something, the person like
Has to
the
do
person knows they're being mind controlled and still has to do it. Like,
yeah, I can't say no.
that's fucking crazy.
So after the plot lines were developed, major deviations sometimes occurred in the writing process. Like the final version of the script and mind control abilities were focused of Edlund's original pitch for the episode, Simon Said. However, the more powerful twin kept secluded due to deformities, forced his brother to perceive him as retarded. At the end of the episode, his brother ate him in retaliation. The story was eventually changed and instead focused on questions.
I think I remember you bringing
what
this
to
up,
do
and it was
with
going to
power.
end with fucking twin cannibalism.
And with like a deformed twin who, yeah.
And yeah, a lot of things that I think we can safely say were maybe like a little too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
The episode, the way it is plenty tense and
Yes.
plenty creepy
Yeah.
and works fine. And I think all those other things, they probably discovered this too,
Yeah.
were distractions. Rather than enhancing it, it was like, I don't think that has to be there.
No.
Yeah.
Kripke felt that this fit greatly with the series storyline because Sam was uncomfortable with his developing abilities. The writers wanted to explore one of the psychic children who took his ability as a gift.
Right.
So, yeah.
And it's nice too because, yeah, I mean, we have the bad twin there, but
Sure.
like also we get Andy who's like, it is a gift, but also I'm harmless.
Yeah.
Largely.
yeah, like I don't want to do this to hurt anybody.
Yeah. He's just like, I just want free coffee.
and that scene in the very beginning of it.
Oh, damn it. Yeah. Listen, if we haven't said it through the season,
Yeah.
mind control
And
equals
magic,
not
yeah.
consent.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. So next episode, no exit. Another kind of detour from like our sort of continuous storyline, but a great concept.
And bringing in like real life. You know,
Yeah.
like we talk about it in the episode, but H.H. Holmes, kind of widely considered to be like America's first serial killer, the murder mansion, all those ideas. They don't go to the murder mansion because it has since been taken down.
Yes.
But revisiting the idea of it, that his ghost is connected there because they do the research into history. They know where he was hanged and executed and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're in that city as opposed to where the murder mansion was and stuff like that. Really, really, really cool shit. There's a fun, well, not fun, but there's a Canadian connection that he, killed a couple of people. They found their bodies on Bay Street or whatever
Yes.
in Toronto.
I got super into H.H. Holmes after this episode.
Yeah.
I like started listening to all of the podcasts. I'm really interested in reading the books.
It's a great episode for developing that Joe Dean relationship. It's got a real creepy set piece, that like hexagon room underground with the fucking metal coffins and shit.
Yeah.
H.H. Holmes with his big fucking mustache and whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of great stuff. Also, that they don't manage to kill him because they can't find his bones or whatever.
Yeah.
So they just salt and trap and concrete
Yeah.
trap him in that room underground,
Crazy.
which is like, I mean, A, creative solution. I mean, B, no spoilers here. He doesn't come back. But
As we
it's
know
that
of.
thing where it's like, well, yeah, the show never revisits it, but it's that thing where it's like, they did not
Solve
finish
it.
this.
Yeah. So going back to Jared's wrist, Jared had surgery on his wrist during the filming of No Exit, which is why you don't see a lot of Sam in this story. Jared's story of flaking out on the set after that from pain pills is always a fun story to hear at cons. Apparently, yeah, because he was just constantly on pain meds, he would just like disappear from set all the time.
Oh, Jesus.
Maybe he had a problem. Who knows? He wore the cast from Simon Said all the way until Playthings. The injury ended up stemming from when he broke his during that fight in the Bloodlust. So
Right.
it didn't heal right and became a long-term complication throughout the rest of the season.
Right.
So there's also this. So I was doing a bunch of research and found there was this. Apparently, there's this prank that they show on the DVD, but then sort of they talk about on in a lot of the cons and stuff. There's this classic Kim Manners sewer pipe prank.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you some video because it's pretty funny.
Okay. All right. Classic sewer pipe prank. That's a lot of fun, actually. I like that.
Yeah, very, very funny. I like that a lot.
That's cute. Get them into that contained thing. Then just
Also, he has a cast on. I don't know if you're supposed to get casts wet. But yeah, super fun.
that's a lot of fun.
Great
I like
episode
that.
too. So the next after that is The Usual Suspects. This is where we get, of course, there's the boys finally get arrested. They finally
That's right.
like get brought in and are there for basically the like.
This
almost
is
whole
the
episode.
Linda Blair episode.
That's right.
Yeah, this is a cool one. And yeah, so we are building this Gordon
Yes.
thing that will keep coming back about hunters.
Yeah.
And we're also revisiting, like, in the first season, like,
They do illegal shit. Yeah.
they do illegal shit. Dean is considered dead.
Yeah.
Like, all sorts of shit like
People
that.
think that they killed people because they don't believe in shapeshifters
and it catches
shit.
and
Yeah.
it catches up to them in this episode. Linda Blair plays this detective, and then there's
Yeah.
this whole like dirty cop story going on.
Yeah.
But it kicks off what becomes a bigger thread this season
Yeah.
of like the guys are not just chasing a demon, and they are not just trying to keep away from hunters
Yeah.
that don't like them. They are also trying to not go to jail.
Yeah.
Which is like there's so many they are in danger from every possible angle.
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
legally, physically, spiritually, like all of them.
Which sort of comes to a head a bit in this episode. So yeah, I mean, I
Very, very cool.
love this episode.
Cool to bring in Linda Blair. You know,
Yeah.
like that's a the references to things thing is the thing that started in the first season, but to go as far as to get such like a horror icon
Yeah.
as Linda Blair, get her in this episode.
Yeah,
Uh,
and they actually wanted her in the first season. So
Really cool.
Yeah, so those who don't know, Linda Blair, famous for her role in the horror film The Exorcist from
Yes.
the 70s.
Yeah, she was the kid.
Yeah, appeared in this episode. Though a fan of the show, Blair had actually turned down a guest appearance in the first season because she didn't want to return to horror, having spent years getting a clean slate. This changed after the television series Extra aired a 3-part profile on her acting career and work with animals. It attempted to find the series that would write a role for her as an actor's piece rather than a cameo. Kripke, a fan of The Exorcist, offered to write an episode specifically for her, and that she was really touched when he listened to her request to leave out demons in the storyline. During an automated dialogue replacement, Jensen added in a reference to The Exorcist with the statement, "I could really go for some pea soup," which is sort of the only real nod to that.
Yeah, because she plays a cop. There's a ghost element to the story, but it's mostly about a dirty cop. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And she's great in it. And it's very, very cool. And it's a great episode to get that sort of like, now this person has seen too much
Yeah.
kind of thing. Technically in every episode that happens, but
Yeah.
we're really focusing on it here where she's like, oh my God, like fine, I'm not going to arrest you guys because I think I need you out there so
Yeah.
that I can sleep.
Which I love that. That's a thing that sort of will go on later with
Yeah.
other sort of like authority figures and stuff like that.
Totally.
When people figure out that it's like, okay, these guys need to be out there, like people will help them sort of continue to do their good work.
Yeah.
Catherine Humphreys pitched a story where a ghost served as a death omen because they wanted to keep like the viewers guessing with the show. They wanted to warn people of like future tragedy rather than just trying to kill them. So because prior to this, all the other ghosts in the series have been ones that specifically are like trying to harm people. This is the only one. This is the first one that didn't actually
Yeah.
actively try to hurt people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, however, Humphreys had trouble developing the script's outline. Kripke noted a part of the episode in which the brothers are arrested and have to explain to the police what had happened. This scenario ultimately became the framework for the episode, which begins with Sam and Dean being taken into custody. So originally it was sort of like the concept for this ghost and that at some point they'd get taken into the police station, but it wasn't sort of the framework for the episode. The framework was them going after this ghost. And so they sort of changed it into being all about the police station.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's also the very first episode where Dean doesn't refer to Sam as Sammy. I know.
Sammy.
It's also the first episode in which the Impala doesn't appear.
Jesus Christ.
And it's the only
What are we doing?
And it's the only season 2 episode where the infamous Starburst clock appears. So so there's that clock that's got like the star. It's all in hotel rooms and, and TV sets that they have, and like it's everywhere throughout the series. This is the only one in season 2 where it actually shows up.
Well, there you go.
And that is that episode. So then we're going on to Crossroad Blues.
Yeah, I mean, we've already encountered demons in that, but here we're specifically we're encountering the sort of Faustian bargain, Crossroad demon, make a deal thing, but also. Again, like the H.H. Holmes episode, we're talking about, I mean, a quote-unquote real-life thing, which is the theory of, like, this blues master selling his soul to be great, right? And I love working in, like, this sort of, like, apocryphal kind of crypto history into this episode that is also furthering the plot.
Well, yeah.
We know that a deal was made in the first episode of the season because John makes it with his Azel. Even though we don't hear him say it, we know that's what happened. We talk about it in this episode, and then deals come back in the finale in a big way.
Well, and hellhounds get introduced really here.
Yes.
Which become a huge sticking point.
Which is interesting because hellhounds don't particularly feature in this season.
But become a huge
hellhounds
feature.
Become big later on. Spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. So another element of folklore favored by Kripke was the story of Robert Johnson, which he focused on his first screenplay as a writer. He found the legend similar to Supernatural, noting it's a piece of real-life American history and folklore. It's an American horror story, and it takes place in the dusty backroads of rural America, and it's got great music. However, the lore takes place in like the early 20th century and prevented the inclusion of Sam and Dean. To circumvent this, writer Sarah Gamble suggested Johnson's story be made into a subplot detailed in flashbacks, with the Crossroads demon returning in the present to make more deals. Although Gamble envisioned the demon's hellhounds to be similar to in appearance to like a Rottweiler, Kripke felt it would look stupid. The creature was instead made invisible, which Gamble believes gave it a more terrifying presence, which I agree.
And actually, the visual effects piece of how the hellhounds work, is really cool to see things like shred and rend, but without seeing the actual claws
or even just the breathing.
It's very visceral. It's quite scary
when it's like right in front of you and you're just
in so many of these. It's like you see they see the ghost, they scream, the camera cuts away, and you're like, but what did the ghost do? And you're like, I don't know.
It's just like scared him.
But then in this one, it's like this thing is just invisible. It's obviously very tangible, and it is ripping you apart.
Fucking
very
terrifying.
Scary. Very scary.
Yeah, great episode, great music, great format. I mean,
really, really cool stuff.
Introducing us to Crossroads demons, which are like, I mean, not introducing us, but like sort of bringing back in
demon deals again. become a big kind of centerpiece.
Yeah, totally. The next episode is Croatoan.
Another history kind of aligning with the show sort of thing. You know, the Croatoan thing goes in its own kind of odd direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, bringing in that idea of like the lost colony.
Yeah, what happens if you show up at a town and everyone's gone?
What happened to it? But this kind of ghost town thing. Very creepy episode. Really, really dope. Yeah. Like cool idea, cool interpretation of this weird little piece of historical curiosity and stuff like that.
But also sort of introducing this concept of like, what if like demons like experiment? Like, what if they work together?
It's also that, it's that weird like application of like scientific principle to magic, which is like, we've got magic, but what if we tried something and then we improved the magic or like altered the magic? Like that's very scary kind of creepy thing. It's a thing that I like in comic books too, is when they find the intersections of those worlds.
But also this sort of idea is that there's like a disease, and so forcing everybody to like go, like humans to force them to go against each other and like question each other. And that,
I mean, and this episode, a great like container with lots of crazy drama and some, we talk about having introduced the like our hunter's good idea. Like this episode goes pretty definitively to like they are not.
Yeah.
And it's specifically about Sam and Dean.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Well, yeah, it's just like, would you just kill a human because maybe they're
It's
gonna...
that zombie thing of
Yeah.
like, once you're bitten, is it a foregone thing? Should
Yeah.
we try to save you? Should we at least just lock you up and move on? Like, what's
Yeah.
the right thing to do here?
It's crazy.
Very, very crazy. Great episode.
Fun production fact: there was a 4-week break in between Croatoan and Hunted, the next episode. So fans actually had to wait to see Sam get totally pissed off when Dean tells him what John said. So at the end of this episode, basically,
Oh, this is the one where they
Yeah.
end by the... Right. We talked about this because the end of that was like, they're very casual and they don't know that this disease
Yes.
has not spread further.
yes, but
But
this is
they're
also-
just like, everything's tied up with a neat little bow. And then
Yeah.
they just do like a cold cut at the end of the episode. And the next episode picks up right away in the same spot. But it's like, it's not like a real cliffhanger.
because it's just like
It's a weird
Dad
setup.
said something to me, and then they cut off.
Very, very odd setup. You know, it's nice to break things up a bit so it's not always the same, but it is also kind of like oh, all right.
But the fact that then they had 4 weeks until the next episode aired,
Right. There was a big gap,
like a month.
like a mid-season break
Yeah,
for some
a
reason.
month
Yeah.
before you actually got that. I mean, insane. So that's when we get to Hunted. We return. Gordon comes back. Finally, it's sort of like
Hell yeah.
Gordon's gonna now like deal with the fact that he had been sort of fucked over in Bloodlust.
Yes.
I great episode.
This is Gordon hunting
Yeah, hunter.
Sam, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, he just like disappears at the beginning of the episode, and we find that he's basically like tied Sammy up, and he's like, well, Sam's a bad guy, like I know.
And a very creepy kind of, like when the hostage taker spends too much time talking with the hostage.
Yeah.
Very easy. And Sterling K. Brown plays that sort of like calm, sociopathic kind of thing so well. Like and also the guy that's too many steps ahead. Like Sam's like, you think you're going to kill me? He's like, oh yeah. He's not going to come through the front door. He's going to go around the back. That's why I put a bomb back there. Like,
Yeah.
all that shit. And you're like, fuck.
It's
like he's a hunter. He knows all the plays.
Yeah.
He's like, oh shit.
Exactly.
All the advantages you expect the Winchesters to have are cut down, and it's a great, like, for an episode that actually doesn't have all that much action until kind of the final sort of
Yeah.
confrontation. It's a real crazy thing. Yeah. Or sorry, it's the other way around. He has Dean and he's trying to bait Sam. Sorry. That's what it is.
Yes.
He has Dean, he's trying to bait Sam because Sam's the one he wants to kill. At any rate, crazy shit.
Yeah, and Sam, I think then he meets up with is this the
This is
Ava.
where we meet Ava. We meet
Yeah.
another one of the psychic kids. Yeah.
Exactly. And Gordon sort of feels justified in his whole thing because he found out about the whole Azazel army kid plan.
Also the idea that he again, it's Gordon's way of hunting.
Yeah.
Sam and Dean would kill a demon. Gordon tortured a demon so brutally that it gave up Azazel's entire plan, basically, that we don't even know.
Yeah.
At this point in the season. And he's like, oh, I completely fucked this demon up. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, Jesus. It's like, are the demons even that bad
Yeah.
compared to this?
Crazy. Totally.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the episode basically ends with Gordon getting sort of taken by the police.
Yeah, they set him up.
Yeah.
And they find his stash of guns, and the cops are like, we got him.
Yeah.
We got a black guy with guns. Take him in, boys.
Yeah.
America.
What do you mean? We got a black guy. The gun part didn't really even matter.
Sam and Dean break out of handcuffs, and then the cops are like, you two are all right. We'll see you.
Yeah. Here's a gun for your troubles.
Bullets are on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now don't go spend them all in one place.
Oh, God. There really are two Americas in season 2 of Supernatural. Uh-oh.
The next episode is Playthings, where we get sort of like
Creepy shit.
the haunted
Creepy
motel,
Victorian dolls.
hotel. Yeah.
The one with all white people, but we're invoking hoodoo. We see one picture of a black woman, so we know that there's a connection.
Yikes.
But this was not a great episode. I think we felt that way about it. But
Yeah.
it's still got some good, iconography, like the idea of the stuff happening to the dolls, like, and then the guy's head twists around, like, as he falls down the stairs and shit like that.
Scary
like,
dolls, scary little girls.
Scary dolls, creepy girl ghost,
Yeah.
creepy, like, abandoned pool, all sorts of good, like, visual shit. That's still in there, even though this episode is a little bit of a mess.
You get that classic, like, you can't leave, I'm going to keep you here forever. kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Exactly. Shouldn't we play jacks all the time?
Yeah.
Patty cake.
Yeah.
Baker's man. Like, that's the feeling of it.
Yeah, totally. It's that like classic scary kid thing, which always works.
A scary kid in like a very like proper dress with like a bow tie and
it's like the curly hairs and stuff.
Yeah.
The also a lot of homophobia.
Grandmother says we can't play with like that sort of thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, the weird homophobia thing. Yeah. Again, this episode is a bit of a mess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Then we get Night Shifter.
Oh, this guy was so close. This guy, like,
Ronald.
I love the idea of the intersection of these science and magic things. And in this particular case, it's that, like, what if someone saw the symptoms and just assumed the wrong thing?
Yeah.
And that's what this is this guy's seen as this crazy conspiracy theorist because he thinks, like, robots have taken over people. And it's like, you are this close, buddy. It's not robots. It's a fucking shapeshifter because it's magic. And he goes like, what?
Yes.
He's like, the idea that Sam and Dean kind of have to play like, you're fucking crazy. But then Dean is like, but he's right. Like, mostly.
That would be
he figured this out on his own, mostly. But then this guy goes too far. And he doesn't know, like, then we get this insane bottle thing. We introduce Agent Henriksen, another law enforcement officer, the FBI guy who's like, the Winchesters are my case. I will chase them across country. It's a real, like, fugitive scenario.
Yeah.
It's like, I will ruin every relationship in my life if it means I bring down the fucking Winchesters.
Oh, love that, like, trope of a police officer.
And, yeah, I mean, he even comes back within this season. But, yeah, this great container episode, some great like scariness of like someone in here is the shapeshifter, and then also the like, even if we deal with that, how do we get out?
Yeah.
Kind of thing, because it's a hostage situation, the bank heist.
It's like a heist. Yeah, they do a good like heist
and
episode.
they heist their way out.
Yeah.
Like the
dressing as a
SWAT team, getting out to the car. Like, it's great episode, very well structured, real insane thing. And also at that moment at the end where they're sitting in the car and they're like, well, we're fucked.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Ben Edlund originally had sort of envisioned Ronald to be more of like an unsympathetic, semi-drunk Randy Quaid from Independence Day type of character.
Which he easily could be.
Yeah, but
it's better this way, though, because it's like he's almost like the boys can see a bit of like...
Well, it's also the fan base a bit is in them,
it's
right?
like a bit of the fan base, but it's also like it's that thing of wouldn't there...
Like
if they must be hunters,
Yeah.
if they can't have a normal life, isn't the best case scenario that they can inspire other people to take control of their lives and defend themselves against these things? And this guy's just woefully unequipped for it, but he's the closest they've met to a person who's like, I could do it.
Yeah.
And they're like, I mean, it's dangerous, but like, we could also use more of you.
Yeah.
It's
But
kind
they
of,
also like the guys.
and so
they
to
don't...
cut him down in that
Yeah.
episode is also to like stab at like their hope a little bit. It's like, maybe you guys are some of the only people equipped to deal with this.
Yeah.
And that's
Sam's
really
real shitty about it.
Yeah, he is actually. Yeah.
But I mean, the fans ended up really loving him. It's unfortunate that he died.
Yeah.
In that, but then we get Houses of the Holy.
Yeah, we get an angel fake out. This is an episode where we confirm. I mean, we've almost entirely confirmed the existence of hell to this point, and then in this episode, they're like, "But no angels."
Yeah,
because it's just the ghost of a priest
Yes.
who believes himself to be an angel, but is not. Also, I just got to give a shout out to the scene where the priest comes in and sees Sam conducting a seance in the crypt of the church. And even the priest is like, in a church, man.
Yeah, like...
And then he fully sees a ghost and he's like, oh my God.
I need to not be a priest anymore.
He was like, I believed in this, but this is too much confirmation. I actually can't handle knowing this much.
Yeah.
I preferred when it was just faith.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I sort of love that where it's like even these people that are like, yeah, it's real, are then shown that it's real. They're like, uh-oh,
Too much.
I don't like this
Yeah.
anymore.
This isn't fun anymore, you guys.
I just like giving out the bread and the wine.
Yeah. We were all having a party here.
I took Latin in high school. This is one of the only spots where it's useful.
Yeah. You know how little work you have to do to be this? You just have to believe in God.
You just have to not touch your kids.
And not even that much.
And frankly, not even that.
Yeah. Oh, no. And there's
Very cool episode, though.
Yeah. And basically the whole thing is that there is this priest who died is now going to people and finding out that he's like, he can see that there's these people who go to the church that are bad, and so he just gets other people to kill those people.
Yeah, he like appears to them and gives them, and these people are like, God told me to do it, like an angel told me to do it, so I'm right.
The car chase scene involving Dean in the House of the Holy was supposed to actually be much bigger and exciting than it ended up being.
Because it's just him slowly tailing a car that he then loses.
Yes.
And then it's just him in a car.
Yeah, but unfortunately, because the weather ended up turning out to be icy, they had to downscale the whole
Oh,
thing. Yeah,
well, because filming in Vancouver.
well, exactly,
There you
right?
go.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Next is Born Under a Bad Sign.
Yeah, this is where we get the return of Meg.
That's right.
Return of Meg the demon, but this time in Sam's body. We get the very creepy / sexy aggressive Sam in this one.
If you talk to Laura, that was a great moment.
Yeah.
I clutched my pearls when she said that.
But it's nice to give Jared something.
Yeah.
Sam can be real milquetoast sometimes, so putting him in this position where he has to be like very outwardly like manipulative and like kind of like smiling, but then also like, oh, you know, your dad died. I know your dad died. Kind of like very fucked up sort of thing. Cool to bring back Meg. Again, remind us that demons hot bodies, because we've also like Azazel's going to stay in that body.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
This isn't normal.
I think even that Crossroads demon, is it the same demon that we see?
Oh, I can't remember. Yeah.
From,
good question.
From Crossroad Blues and then in the finale.
Yeah.
But just a good reminder, demons can be in anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Including in Sam. And then I guess we haven't gotten to the now famous tattoo thing, but at the end of this episode, they get sort of protections, because apparently up to this point, they've been like, well, who's going to possess us? And apparently it could have happened literally all the time.
Well, because demons are the ones who really do that body possessions of humans.
Yeah.
And they didn't really know that much about demons in general.
They didn't.
When you look at the first season, it's like they're like, we kind of know that demons might exist.
And again, a thing we don't cover too much, but we haven't covered too much yet, is that who do they get those sigils from? A character that the show begins leaning on more in this season is Bobby. We only meet him, I think, at the end of season 1.
And he wasn't supposed to even be a returning character.
But he's like really, I mean, he's not even really in this season. He's in like 5 episodes maybe.
Yeah.
But Bobby's in there, and we're starting to build up that like he's a resource. He's got wisdom. He's got knowledge. He can clunk their heads together and be like, you Egypts.
Yeah, exactly. This episode's cool because I mean it's really all about this like format of this episode, which is like the like I woke up and didn't know what happened kind of thing. But it's also sort of it exists because the first season, the sort of end of the first season was like, we need to talk about your brother. Like,
yeah,
we need to talk about Kevin. Like the whole thing is like, is Sam bad?
You know, we've gotten those episodes of like Sam still having visions and shit like that, but we haven't really touched it too much, other than that weird reveal at the end of the Croatoan episode where Tina's like, Dad told me something.
Yeah.
And then in the next episode where he's like, Dad told me that I might have to kill you.
Yes.
Like,
a partial Kripke crap on apparently.
I love that we've got a name for it.
Well, yeah. Eric absolutely hates The Doors, but
like the band?
Yeah, the band.
Interesting.
But the director of Born Under a Bad Sign convinced him the crystal ship worked for the scene. It had the right amount of creep factor, and he was right. But yeah, I love so much of the creep because he's like, I don't like this. I don't like that music. I don't think that's good. Let's go back and I mean, he would definitely like. I'm surprised he hasn't re-released the first season.
He's got. This is only for theater nerds out there. He's got strong Tennessee Williams energy. A man who constantly republished versions of his thing because he was never happy.
Yes. Also, George Lucas vibes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, we didn't really have the technology at the time.
Yeah, so funny. Yeah, he's gonna go back and add it. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna go back to the. We're gonna go back, and the Jin's gonna call somebody a McClunky.
Nothing makes me laugh more than the idea that they had to all sit around and be like, "We really need to fucking jazz up this goddamn number."
Yeah,
at the beginning of Return of the Jedi. You know what Return of the Jedi was missing?
Yeah, a poppy number.
Yeah. Ooh, little fucking hairball.
So funny. So then we get Tall Tales, finally.
Yeah, we're introduced to the Trickster, which, spoilers, by how I just said that, it's not the last time we're going to see the Trickster.
Oh, no, baby. So the concept for Tall Tales originated as He Said episode. That's essentially the idea of this, was in which the brothers would recount conflicting versions of the same storyline.
And that's one of my favorite parts of this episode is as they're doing it, again, with Bobby coming in there to call them both Egypts, but they're both telling their versions. And then we get these very like exaggerated versions of them, these campy versions, because it's from the perspective of the person telling the story. Like
so funny.
Sam, the one where he's like, "You're too precious for this world."
Oh my
and
God.
he's like...
So good.
That shit is so funny to me. Like that Dean is telling, because when Sam's telling the story, Dean is a little like salivating over boobs and stuff, but it's not that crazy. When Dean is telling the story, Sam is like wildly pushed to the extreme.
So funny.
It's very funny.
The writers
also, Dean is also pushed to the Dean is like all suave, like James Bond kind of
so
thing
funny.
in the bar. This episode is amazing. Plus, it's like going through like there's an alligator in the sewer, a UFO. Like we see like the guy literally like slow dancing with an alien and shit. Like this episode goes to so many weird places.
I think this episode allows them to do so many things in future episodes.
It does feel like one of those ones where it's like we found a way to do it here. We could pretty much, if we put our minds to it, do anything we want with this show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the writers deliberated over the use of 5 or 6 monsters in trying to find the one appropriate for this episode, but eventually settled on a trickster because it can do everything they want to.
Yeah.
Although the writers typically prefer to put their own spin on folklore, they decided to, in this case, to remain faithful to the archetypal trickster mythos.
But you can still do so much with that. I mean, even in the episode, they name a bunch of tricksters. Loki, Anansi. Like, there's so many across different cultures, and it's like, you basically still do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Great episode. So then we've got Roadkill.
This is another wild one. Again, we're poking holes in the Hunter legend.
Yeah.
Because this is the episode that directly asks the question, like, when you guys banish a ghost,
what happens?
What happens to it?
Yeah.
And it's like, even they go like, we have no idea. It's like, I guess it goes to hell. And then they're like, are we just erasing them from existence? Like Again, you come out of that episode and like Sam and Dean have to look at each other and be like, are we bad?
It's such a great framing for an episode because it's like, what is the ghost's perspective in this whole thing?
A ghost that doesn't know it's a ghost?
Yeah. I mean, it's so sad.
Yeah.
It's basically like you start the episode with this couple on like driving. They get in a car crash. She wakes up and then it's just her like going, hey, where's my husband? What's going on? And then the guys show up and they're like, hey,
but also
we're gonna
Sam
help
and
you.
Dean know it the whole time.
Yeah.
Like they know that this thing is happening. It's not even like we get partway through the episode and they go,
oh, you're a ghost.
She's the ghost. Like they know it. And they're just they're just kind of like, do we tell her?
Yeah. Because they flash back halfway through the episode and they go like, okay, this ghost shows up all the time.
It happens like once a year or something.
So then
like
you
that.
find
Yeah,
out that it's like,
exactly,
oh, this didn't just happen. This happened a long time ago.
and it keeps happening.
And this ghost has to go through the same thing, which means they're constantly reliving like the worst moment
and
of
there's
their
like
life.
an element of like putting the ghost out of its misery, but
Yeah.
also like I literally don't know what's gonna happen to you next.
Yeah, because also
This could just be literally like the end of you
yeah.
existentially, or maybe you're like that dog and you don't go to heaven.
Oh no, all dogs.
Except him, whatever
yeah.
the fuck his name
Oh, that's
is.
right, yeah. Except for
The whole
all dogs
point
go
of
to
that,
heaven.
the
except
whole
for this
point
one.
of all dogs go to heaven is one dog goes to hell very definitively.
Yes. Weird. Disney, what the fuck were you doing? What also this episode does is goes, what happens if two different ghost sort of things get pushed together?
Yeah, because there's multiple ghosts and their stories are entwined.
Which like they weren't before. Like this one ghost was just like killing random people, whoever showed up, and then this girl shows up, gets killed by this guy, and then it's like, okay, now it's your
I didn't
story.
think that's what it
Oh,
was. I thought it
yeah.
was that like they killed him in the car crash, and then that killed them.
Oh, I thought there were two separate
and so
stories.
they were connected that way, and so he was coming after her because maybe I'm just not remembering correctly. I thought they were more connected than that. Either way, like
Cool.
it's kind of like a multi-ghost
Yeah.
chain.
Yeah. It's awesome. Love that episode so much. Then we get, oh yeah.
We're getting back to back It's Bad to Be a Hunter episodes here.
But also, good to be Sam.
Yeah.
We get a heart. Sam
You
gets
almost-
a heart on.
You almost certainly made this joke during the episode, but he gets to do it doggy style
yeah.
with a werewolf.
Jared has shared at many cons before stories about his uncomfortable experience shooting the infamous sex scene in this episode, Heart. It was a long day shooting.
It's a good sex scene.
Yeah, shooting the extended steamy scene, wearing nothing but his underwear in front of the crew member he works with every single day. Imagine just like tomorrow you had to show up and go, okay, you're gonna work at Mammoth, but with no clothes on.
There's an interview with Samuel L. Jackson that I think of every time this comes out. Lots of actors have spoken about how weird and not sexy. It's even in Love Actually, like that Martin Freeman's character thing riffs on that.
When he's like pretending to
But there's an interview with Samuel L. Jackson where he says it's crazy because there's just a guy eating a sandwich looking at you.
Yeah.
And then you're in a scene with someone and like maybe they're going to get offended if you get aroused. Maybe they're going to get offended if you don't.
Yes.
He's like, like it's just a job, but also at the same time, everyone's so caught up in like you're supposed to sell the moment. People are like, "What? You don't find me attractive? I'm not your type."
Yeah.
There's this amazing Samuel L. Jackson interview where he's like, "There is nothing worse than you cannot win in filming a sex scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always going to be awkward for everyone. It's always going to be bad for everyone." And it's a miracle that they can edit them to make them look good.
Oh yeah. So Sam also says that apparently he's taking directions and cues all day on how to make it sexier and more animalistic from Kim Manners.
Oh. I will say I don't have that much experience with this, but I was an actor but on stage, and I have been in plays where I had to
Really?
be sexy of some description. But I remember I was in a production of the Rocky Horror Show, which is funny, but there is Act 2 begins with 2 sex scenes. It's Frankenfurter and Janet and Frankenfurter and Brad. Both of those pairs have sex.
Yeah.
And I remember very vividly doing like we were blocking the scene, figuring out all this kind of stuff. And the gay stage manager being like, "You have to put your legs higher. Do I need to teach you how to have anal sex?" kind of thing where it's like, if you want to sell this, and like just weird notes you would get or stuff like that.
Oh my
like,
God.
About like, no, you just climbed on and we need to see you like sit on it. Not that you need to see it happen, but like if you just sit up, that doesn't sell what's happening.
Yeah.
The weird notes you get in sex scenes and stuff like that is very uncomfortable.
There's a gay sex scene in Rocky Horror.
Brad and Frankenfurter.
That doesn't happen in the movie, right?
Yeah, it does.
I don't remember. God.
They bone down, buddy.
I'll be honest. I don't like Rocky Horror.
Start of Act 2. We and like we were in university. We were doing like shows for high schools and that. And this last part of this tangent, but we were like, this is not going to go over well. These high school kids, they're going to be immature about it. They're going to be like, oh, it's gay or whatever like that. But it's like, we'll just do the scene. We'll get through until we get back to the songs and shit. Yeah. So we were psyching ourselves up for it to go horribly, and we're doing the scene, and we flip the blocking, and I get up and I sit down on it, and some kid like in the fourth row goes, "Give her!" And everyone breaks. I'm laughing. Frankenfurter's laughing. The band is laughing. No one holds it together. It's the funniest shit ever.
That's very funny.
Yeah, it's one of still my all-time favorite kind of theater memories.
Did you have to like kiss and stuff?
Yeah.
Wow. That's where it all started.
Yeah,
eh?
had to.
Yeah. That's where it all was birthed.
Listen, I've done lots of stuff on stage, and I've done some stuff off stage. That's life, baby.
That's just who you are.
Yeah.
So, not to mention getting oiled up constantly by the makeup crew.
Oh, God, to be that makeup crew.
It was a closed set, though, so
Yes.
only the eyes in that room could see what was happening. Also,
it always is for those things. It's like, who needs to be here? And then no one. It's like the modicum of kind of like respect that they try and. There's still like 20 people there.
Yes. So also funny, his inspiration for crying at the end of this episode apparently was puppies and kittens in the shelter.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, this is an episode where this person, she doesn't realize she's a werewolf. They discover she's a werewolf. She and Sam have built this very earnest connection.
Yeah.
The episode does a great job of setting it up that like in the short amount of time they actually feel something with each other.
Yeah.
And like he has to basically put her down, and not even as a werewolf.
Yeah.
If she was transformed and it was life or death kind of thing, but he just has to go into a room and shoot her.
Yeah.
And it's literally like
execution
and
style.
it's literally like she's mine.
My
Pa.
dog.
I'll do it.
He's my dog.
Yeah. Like it's really fucked up. Again, it's like we know that hunting is a bad job, but now what does it make you into to be a hunter? Even if you're aware and conscious of these gray moralities and that and trying to be good, that's just what you have to be as a hunter is just that you're just bringing death and destruction and you're just ruining lives.
Yeah, if you fall in love with someone, they ended up being a werewolf, this is what you've got to do.
It's fucked.
Yeah.
Especially because, well, no, never mind, spoilers.
So then we finally get Hollywood Babylon.
Great meta episode about like TV production. I love Dean pretending to, or not even pretending, he becomes fully a PA in this episode.
Yes.
But him like just at the craft services table. I do feel like season 2 we get a lot more of Dean eating.
Yeah.
I feel like that happens a lot in this, because even in the episode, that's first season. Never mind.
Crazy.
But we're leaning into like the Dean eating lore of the show.
There's basically some murders that happened on the set of a movie, and so they got to figure out what.
A couple of great like guest actors in this one. The guy that plays McG.
Oh yeah,
is in lots of stuff. You'd recognize him.
Yeah,
and he's very good. But also the guy that plays the producer is like the boss from
Gary
Office
Cole,
Space. Yeah, he's in all sorts of stuff. Fucking Bob Pinciotti from that 70s show is in this episode. There's like a host. They got a lot of pretty recognizable TV and movie guys in there.
So before he entered the television industry, writer and consulting producer Ben Edlund had wanted to pen a metafictional script dealing with television production, but he decided against it because he did not have the production knowledge. He later returned to it for this episode, Hollywood Babylon. Edlund decided to have the production staff look like goofballs and made fun of the Supernatural's production staff. The network and the studio, for example, comments made by Gary Cole's sort of studio's character were based on notes from the actual network and the studio for Supernatural during both seasons of production.
Just silly notes.
Like, make it less dark. Can you make it more colorful? That kind of stuff is constantly coming up. Make it not so moody. Other metafictional references include a character commenting on the terrible script of Boogeyman, a film written by Eric Kripke, Sam becoming uncomfortable as the studio tour passes the set of Gilmore Girls, television series which Padalecki had a reoccurring role on, and Hollywood's weather to be positively Canadian because that's where they film. So great sort of like Now the show's done something that's like really bonkers and silly with the tall tales, and now you're getting this sort of metafictional, metatextual sort of thing that they go, oh, these work for our show.
And it's funny when and how those things come back into the show, because they come back in a variety of ways. It's not even just one way that they find those things work. They really get creative about it as the show goes on, which is a lot of fun.
Big part is like, thank God they got Ben Edlund.
Yes.
But I mean, I'm glad that these went well, because it was such a great sort of thing to go, okay, these are the things that work for our show.
Plus, I mean, at the very least, an episode like that breaks up the like we just came off an episode where Sam had to cold cock, like put down a person he just had sex with. It's like, we need
a balance,
something
to
make us laugh.
So the episode after that is Folsom Prison Blues, where basically they get asked to go to prison because there's ghosts in the prison. So
they deliberately get arrested. Henriksen comes back in this one. He's like, you smug motherfuckers, I've got you. You're in prison, baby. You're mine, motherfucker. And then they find a way out, and it's cool because, you know, we get another like, oh, I knew your dad, kind of character and that sort of thing. We get like a little bit more actual terror at least from Dean, because in a couple of situations he is in this prison with this ghost, and because he's in prison, doesn't have his tools, doesn't have a gun. Easy to be cocky when you got your rock salt gun, but when you're just like in a room and someone's being eviscerated
and
in the next room, you're like, fuck. It's kind of cool to remind us that, like, even these, because now by this point in
punch a ghost,
but by this point in the series, we're like, ghost, these guys can handle that shit. So to have an episode where it's like, can they?
If they've got nothing else, what are they going to do?
It's like, there's a reason ghosts are killing other people. This is not like everyone should be able to kill a ghost kind of thing. It's kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great reminder. Also, like we said in the episode, we get Tiny, we get the big prisoner.
The guy who is like their real life bodyguard.
So I found out a bit more information about that. At the time, he was actually just a local actor. He wasn't the bodyguard then. So he was hired as their bodyguard and driver for season 3, possibly because apparently, now I tried to find more information about this, but any fans out there, any of you fellow hunters, if you are able to give me some more context for this, please let me know. But from what I've read, apparently there was an event called the Asylum Convention in the UK. I don't 100% know what that is. I think it's supernatural related, but apparently there's a story about, in quotation, a flying fangirl. That became a thing that they talk about as like fans going crazy for them. So I don't know the full story. I mean, I can make.
She tried to fan man in like Mo Sislak at the end of that boxing match.
That's what I mean, I can only make assumptions based on that, but basically after that, they suddenly got bodyguards.
Right.
So, interesting thing.
Way to keep it chill, SPN fans.
So. The sort of like where this episode even came from was Kripke's desire to feature prison ghosts, and the initial plot had FBI agent Hendrickson finally capturing the brothers and sending them to prison. However, this caused some major complications. The writers would have had to devise a way for Sam and Dean to escape in the end. Writer John Chabon suggested that the brothers be arrested on purpose in order to work a job, with the prison's head guard being revealed as a family friend.
Yeah, that they know going in they can get out, because if it's just them getting sent to prison, that's way different.
Harder. Yeah, exactly. So great episode. Love that one.
Love that.
Then we get what is and what should never be.
Yeah, we get introduced to a djinn, another very like prominent in real world folklore character, but another new quote unquote monster that we haven't encountered before, with a great design that I know we talked about. They were like, the makeup takes too long, you have to keep this on for 4 days.
Crazy.
Which is wild. But we get like a version of an alternate universe story. So in this season we get a wacky silly crap, we get a meta thing, and we get an alternate kind of universe type thing. It's not an actual alternate universe. It's a hallucination that the djinn provides for Dean, but it's that thing where we could bring back the actor that plays their mom, we could bring back the actor that plays Jessica, and we can have them explore a new dynamic, but also in a way almost kind of show like the destiny thing, the fate thing, that like even though Sam and Dean have no relationship in this, Sam doesn't like Dean, they are not close, the Sam of this world still ends up looking out for Dean as he's like trying to find his way out and stuff. There's a few interesting things going on. That idea of, we're riffing still on the idea of like, it sucks to be a hunter. Wouldn't it be nice if we had a more regular life?
Yeah.
But then also the like, we help more people than we hurt, and this is the right thing to do. And you know, certain things are, you know, immutable. You know, like the brothers, even in that world, even though Dean is kind of apart from that world, they still find a way to be kind of aligned by the end of it.
Familia.
Because they're familia. Exactly. Exactly. Oh my God.
Well, I mean,
I want to see the Impala show up at Race Wars.
Oh my
the
God.
The best named anything
Jesus
in
Christ.
any movie.
Jesus Christ.
This is Race Wars.
Yeah.
Dean would drink a Corona.
I talked about it. I mean, it's paper thin, the line.
How did they
between.
not do this?
I know.
Ugh.
So I talked about it in the pilot episode of this series, and I don't think I brought it up in this specific episode. But the premise of the alternate world and what is and what should never be, where Dean knows about monsters and is hunting, but Sam doesn't, and thinks he's nuts, was actually the original draft of the pilot. So I know we brought up that fact, but this is them sort of playing on it. The pilot had Dean become a hunter because of Supernatural being killed John, and Sam was estranged from his brother. But Kripke ended up going a different way. But that was one of the initial pitches for this episode. So, for the series.
It's interesting, yeah.
Also,
love it.
This is we talk about it in the series, but it's the directorial debut of Eric Kripke.
That's right. That's right. He wanted something foolproof.
Yes,
quote unquote. But this still feels like the most complicated possible.
But this is where we do get the sort of like macho tier from Dean, and yeah, it's a great episode.
Yeah,
but now we get into the finale, baby.
Yeah, 2-part finale. All hell breaks loose. Parts 1 and 2. You just listened to these episodes.
Yeah.
We know what's happening in here, but Azazel's plan really comes to light. We see. A couple of the psychic kids we've already met, like Andy and Ava, they come back. A couple that we have not met yet, like Aldous Hodge as whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
Aldous Hodge. They come back. We get this awesome ghost town fucking set that's real creepy setup for all of them as they duke it out for like the right to be Azazel's chosen kind of one.
Yeah.
And then we finally bring the fucking cult back in.
Yes.
You know, that we talk about it in last week's episode. I love this. I love when Supernatural takes a thing that exists and then blows it out.
Yeah.
So we know that Devil's Trap exists. That's how we end season 1, is learning about a Devil's Trap, how to hold a demon so you can exercise it. And then in this one, they're like, oh, Samuel Colt like commissioned these fucking rail lines.
Yeah.
So there's 100-mile wide Demon's Trap in fucking Wyoming or wherever they are.
Hey, when you were in college, you commissioned some rail lines, didn't you? Why are you scratching your nose?
I'm not. Anyway. The fact that the cult comes back, that there's this like literal gate to hell, that there's this giant demon's trap. We see why Azazel needs these like kind of partial demon children. We get more insight into like that he was like bleeding into their mouths and stuff to give them powers and shit. Yeah. A lot of stuff happens in here. Sam fucking dies.
Yeah.
Dean makes a deal to bring Sam back. Bobby calls him an Egypt.
Yeah.
We get them fighting. Like the hell gate opens, they have to fight demons and that. Fucking John comes out of hell. Sorry for John.
Yeah.
They use the last bullet in the cult. They kill Azazel. You're like, oh, season 2 ended and they fixed it. And then you go like, and they kind of do that. They kind of look out and they go, a lot of shit got out of hell.
Uh-oh.
We fixed basically nothing.
Yeah.
A lot. Things are a lot worse now.
So I've got some really
neat,
sort of crazy information that I've found out about this.
More crazy than what we learned with Ivan?
Yeah.
Okay.
So by the time they went into shooting for All Hell Breaks Loose Part 1 and 2, Supernatural was actually on the brink of cancellation.
Right. I mean, they were down in the 2 point something, I think we said.
Yeah. So rather than do what is now the traditional cliffhanger, Kripke was told to wrap up the story.
Which is why I guess Azazel fully gets it.
Yeah. But leave it open for next year should they get renewed. So it's like wrap up your story, but also leave a door.
I mean, it's
cracked.
season 2 does feel like a little bow.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. So Kripke pitched the idea that would start that would be the start of a demon war, and Warner Brothers promised a budget for it should it be renewed. They lied because the show came back with a reduced license fee and lower budget, making Kripke's vision of a full-scale demon war impossible. Crazy.
And you know what? You can kind of see it. We're going to get into season 3. You can sort of see where it might have gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that.
Totally.
Classic Warner Brothers.
Jensen often tells the story of shooting the monologue over Sam's body at cons, but enjoy sort of this quote that specifically from him. So he says, after building a relationship with the guy that plays your brother to play scenes in a room from him where he's dead, it was very emotional for me because, I totally care about him and I love him a lot.
We talk all the time.
Yeah.
Miss these chats.
Yeah. When he died, I just thought of like the closest person possible to me. There was this guy I went to high school with. He was great.
Yeah.
Really loved him.
Yeah, when he died, I really thought about, like, wouldn't it be great to pitch a story that
he wasn't
he
involved
wasn't
with.
involved with? I'll never get tired of this fucking prequel drama.
So, the 2-part finale brought a ton of storylines to a close. The psychic children were killed off because the writers felt the characters were not as interesting as the demons and the monsters.
True.
The Roadhouse was destroyed due to Kripke's disliking of the concept. He felt it gave a home to the road show.
Right.
And then they don't ever have a home ever again.
Yep, they never go back to that.
Never, no.
I mean, they don't. Well, no, they do go back to it even with Kripke there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Fearing that he would be disappointing fans by creating too much anticipation, Kripke also decided to answer many questions regarding Azazel's plan in part 1. The second part ended the brothers' quest to kill Azazel, but opened up more storylines for the third season, such as Dean's demonic pact to resurrect Sam, and the question of whether what returned was 100% pure Sammy.
Yeah.
Additionally, the war of the demons against humanity, hinted at through the first 2 seasons, finally started in the finale's end.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. And we learned all that insane shit from Ivan about like how they even had to shoot it.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
Green screens and all that stuff. Definitely worth checking out that episode if somehow for some reason you're listening to this and haven't listened to the rest of the episodes.
So we've gone through the episodes. I just want to do a very quick.
Yeah.
I want to go through. We had a few episodes we gave solid 5s.
Wow.
Now, I looking back, I actually kind of feel I was maybe overly generous with season 2. Not that
you were tossing up 5s more than I was, I think.
Not really.
No?
But I do think I tended to be more in the 4s range than maybe I.
You and I were less lined up.
We can only kind of rank it within itself.
Yes.
So it's always going to feel a little weird. I do think generally season 2 knows what it is more and does a better job of this. So I do think I'm not 100% wrong to overall better score season 2.
Did we give like our favorite episode of season 1? Did we end up doing that?
We did. We
Okay,
did. We talked about
we'll have to do that.
So here's what we did for these are the episodes in season 2 we gave full 5s to.
Okay.
In My Time of Dying.
Okay, yeah.
Bloodlust.
Yeah.
Night Shifter.
Oh yeah.
And Hollywood Babylon.
Not Tall Tales, eh? I'm surprised.
And then both parts 1 and 2 of All Hell Breaks Loose.
Wow.
Now, there are some, one of us gives a 5, the other doesn't for some other ones, but those are the ones that were like across the board. We were like 5s, baby.
Okay, what about you? And then what did you give 5s to that I didn't?
Well, What Is and What Never Should Be.
Okay.
Roadkill.
Yeah.
and that's it. And then let's see if you. Oh, sorry. No, actually, those are ones you gave 5s to.
Really?
And I did not.
Whoa.
I did not. I didn't. I never gave a 5 to one that you
Whoa.
did not give a 5 to.
Wow.
Would you like to know what our lowest scored episode was?
Ooh, hold on. Let me see if I can guess.
Sure.
Not knowing. What do I think it would be? I'm going to go through the episodes right now, and I think most likely it's going to be Playthings.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
It was Playthings. A lot of issues there. It was a hilariously fun episode. That was the episode we had Juicebox on for. But you gave it 2.75. I gave it 2.5. Juicebox gave it 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's
So-
really funny.
Yeah, that was our least. So we gave 5s to a bunch of things. But what is your favorite episode of season 2?
Oh,
Big question, I know.
I know. You know what? I think it might be Night Shifter.
Night Shifter is great. This is gonna sound bad. Like, keep in mind, we did give 5s for a bunch of episodes.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite one might be In My Time of Dying.
Really?
I think it's that one. I just really like it. There's some great, even just shots in it, like that circular shot where Dean is in, and then he's at, there's some great shots. We're introducing this sort of like the veil, like between life and death.
Yeah.
We're getting this amazing Azazel actor. We have John in there. Like there's a lot of things going for that episode. I think I really like that one. Plus, like, what an insanely strong start to a season.
Yeah.
I think that one might be my favorite of season 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Let's just take a minute to talk about sort of like how did the world perceive this season?
Sure.
When it came out. So Supernatural had overall kind of low ratings to the second season.
Right.
Viewers consisted mainly of teenage girls, with the CW trying to attract more males. Yeah, because you fucking tried everything in your power to not get men in the first season. Like, actively, you're just like, are you a girl? Check out the show. Like,
Yeah.
and
And the show never really delivered on it.
No.
There's only one sex scene in the first season.
I know, it's crazy. It's bonkers. It ranked number 216 relative to the position of other Prime Network TV shows.
right.
With the average viewership of 3.14. Despite the series did like low ratings, it did get renewed for a third season, and obviously we know that that continued on. According to the Special Forces Soldier Master Sergeant Kevin Weiss at a 2007 Supernatural convention, the DVDs most requested by armed forces personnel in Iraq and Afghanistan during the time were the first 2 seasons of the series.
What?
Yes. I know.
I mean, that's wild.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, there's no reason that they wouldn't enjoy it, but the most requested?
I know. It hilarious. The second season.
Interesting.
The
Maybe all that stuff like brotherhood and like fight the good fight. Like I can maybe kind of see it, but
Yeah.
like also like how would they know?
I
That's
know.
the other piece. Is like it's fine. It's one thing when you know the show to be like, oh, I really
Well,
want to
it's
keep
a
watching
DVD,
this.
so it's probably like it came out and then people found out, and that's how.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Wild.
The second season, though it was low views, it was actually positive reviewed from actual critics.
Yeah, well received.
The review, so Rotten Tomatoes reported 100% approval with an average rating of 8.5 out of 10.
Rotten Tomatoes was around back then.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So Jim Kaz of IGN gave the season a similar score of 8 out of 10. While first hesitant of the series, believing it would be another horror sci-fi occult sort of hybrid igniting ratings, he found the eerie and intricate storylines to overcome the initial impressions of serialized ads and Paris Hilton in the House of Wax, praising the cliffhangers and brotherly chemistry. Maureen Ryan of the Chicago Tribune thoroughly enjoyed the season, really liked the Roadhouse, not understanding why the Roadhouse was not used more throughout the season. She was pretty annoyed when it was destroyed at the end of the series. Also applauding the season's cliffhanger was Peter Brown of IF Magazine, who gave the season a B+. he enjoyed the expansion of the series mythology as well as the new characters introduced. He praised the haunting music that sounds and sounds that really gave a chilling feeling to every episode. Big shout out to our boy from a previous episode.
Yeah, Chris Leonard.
That's right. Yeah. Feeling that this guy specifically said that the music felt Emmy worthy.
Wow.
Yeah. And the season's cast and crew received attention of multiple award programs. Writer Rael Tucker won the Consolation Award, as we talked about, for Best Overall 2007 Science Fiction Film or Television Script for the episode What Is and What Should Never Be. And work on All Hell Breaks Loose Part 2 garnered a Golden Reel nomination for Best Sound Editing in Television Short Form, Sound Effects and Foley. Conita Campbell gained a Young Artist Award nomination for Best Performance in a TV Series, guest starring as a young actress for her performance in Playthings. And Jessica Harmon was nominated for 2008 in a Leo Award in the category of Best Guest Performance and by a Female in a Dramatic Series for the episode All Hell Breaks Loose Part 1.
Nice.
So
that's Ava, right?
Yeah. So we got there. Like critically, it actually was really well reviewed, which I mean sometimes is better. Because
but I also think that tracks. I mean, I think
you put it against a huge juggernaut other television shows. It's that just have like that are big IP or like you know what I mean. Like it
but
makes
this
sense.
season just is solid.
Yeah.
I mean, and graded within itself, very, very consistent. Way more than the first season.
Yeah.
First season has highs and lows and ups and downs, and it's really trying to find its footing.
Yeah.
Second season is, for the most part, pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Sort of last thing we should talk about.
Yeah.
The big season 2 change for us
Oh yeah.
was having guests.
Oh yeah.
We had guests on the show this season.
Some incredible guests this season. We got really lucky.
Comedians, some people fucking involved in Supernatural, some other big fans.
Yes.
You know, a wider range.
Yeah. I mean, it's a thing that we do in our other podcast quite often. And I think we wanted to sort of like, let's just do the first season and get through them and see if we can just do this podcast. And then it was like, well, let's see if we can invite other people. Because I mean, at the end of the day, like scheduling can be really challenging.
Of course.
Especially when you have full-time jobs and things
but also
like that.
especially when our other podcast, if scheduling messes up, we'll just record something else and put it out first or hang on to an episode. But we do this
in order.
Like the episodes have to come out in order.
Yes. Which sometimes
it doesn't mean we record them in order, but they must come out in order. So that is its own kind of interesting challenge. If someone has a guest has an episode they really want to talk about, we got to get it recorded.
Or we get somebody early, but we really want them for a very specific episode, so we have to record them 6 months in advance.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, that was the case with All Hell Breaks Loose Part 2.
Yeah, it was weird that we kept making all those comments like, it's a good thing that no one will ever get sick and the world will go back the same way it always is.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, I mean, gosh, the most filthiest episode that we ever had with Juice
Box.
We had, I mean, to get the deep dive into the music, creating music behind it and the special effects behind this with Chris Leonard and Ivan Hayden. Like,
but also, you know, Aaron Gallagher, who did our podcast art.
Yeah.
She came on. We, you know, that was a Gordon episode. That was Hunted, right?
Yeah.
And that was a ton of fun.
Ron Swallow's super funny.
Our good friend Kyle Clark,
yes,
who bombed in just to watch the season premiere
and
never having watched the show before, and then go like. I mean, it was funny that like right away he was like, "So this show wants us to know how sexy they are, right?" Like,
he's like, the show wants these guys to like. It wants you to want them to be together, right?
Yeah. Joe K. That was another great episode. I mean, so lucky with our guests. Laura Bolt, Laura Knight, Lucretia Lyon. Clay and Victoria. We've had so many fun people on with different experiences and different levels of involvement and engagement with Supernatural, and it's really cool to see, you know, from people that have never watched it to people who were working on it every day for 15 years, and to see almost sort of similar level of buy-in and passion is kind of awesome. Speaks a lot to the show, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, is there any sort of thoughts you have for our next season? Do you want more people from the show? We'll do our best. We're definitely going to try.
Yeah, I mean, that's not exactly like a thing we can guarantee.
But we're going to try. But do you like having the production's crew and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it can be challenging to get some of these actors, but the crew set is sometimes more accessible. So do you like having that?
I know for me, I would love to get a stunt coordinator.
Oh, I know. I've been working on one for a while. So
I would really love that. That's kind of on my bucket list because this show does have some amazing fights and stunts and stuff like that.
Totally. For sure. That's a big one for me. I want to get, stunt people. I want to get one of the writers on so bad.
Yeah, totally.
They switch out a lot of writers throughout the series, so I think we got a good chance of getting somebody someday.
I think so.
I've been pushing on Rael and Sarah Gamble like for so long. just every few weeks I throw out a message because I'm just so desperate to get them.
Sure, yeah.
But if you fan base want to also bug them,
is there any other type of segment or something you want to see from us? We've got our things we like to do, our international titles. Obviously, Dad's Journal's not going anywhere. That's everyone's favorite part.
Yeah. We got an email from Dominique Demare who specifically says, I love what you guys are doing, especially love when you give trivia facts about the filming and such on each episode. And they were wondering if we can consider starting season 3, doing more fun trivia. Definitely get as much as I can. I do a lot of deep diving, but now I have all the DVDs. And
you have access now to more of the commentary and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean, I do my best to I dig through probably 8 websites to find out sort of all of the bits of facts and stuff like that, so you don't have to. So definitely going to continue to do that. People, I used to do more of the goofs. If you guys liked those, I can definitely do more of that stuff. I stopped kind of doing it because it felt a bit monotonous. But if you guys like it, I will definitely talk about some more of the small mistakes and things like that they made, because I think that's really funny.
And just to get y'all excited, some of the Dad's Journal stuff that's going to come up in season 3, we're gonna 7 Deadly Sins, Krampus, Crocata, Doc Benton,
holy shit,
Rabbit's Feet, Ghost Ships.
God, season 3 is a banger.
Yeah, Witches.
Oh my god, I cannot wait for season.
There is shit coming in season 3.
Yes.
Also, in season 3, I'll give just this hint.
Ooh.
But you'll know what this means.
Mm-hmm.
One of our Dad's Journal subjects will be paranormal investigators.
Yes.
They're coming back.
I may have a tie-in to some paranormal investigators. So.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yes, that's right, actually. Yeah.
So we'll, I mean, who knows? If you want more of comedians on the show, stuff like that, let us know what you're enjoying, what you like about the show, because we're just sort of, much like the Supernatural itself, we want to make the show the version that you like it. We want to include the things that you enjoy about what we've done and what you want us to continue to do. So let us know.
Yeah.
So you can do so by sending us an email.
ghostfacerspodcast@gmail.com.
Or we're on all of the social media platforms.
Yeah, at ghostfacerspod.
Reach out to us to have conversations with us out there. And if you want even more content from us, we have a whole other podcast that I think might be relevant to your interests.
That's right. Check out the Dr. DC podcast. It's about comic books, but I mean, we're still basically talking about lore over there. We're talking about ghosts and powers and alternate realities and all of the things that we talk about on Supernatural, we talk about over there. And you don't need to know anything about it. We answer listener questions. It's just a way to have fun and chat about these amazing universes of insane people's creativity. If
you like this show and you like the sort of nerdier aspects of this, I know comic books can be a bit of a gatekeepy feeling thing, and it can be feeling really daunting. That's the whole point of this podcast, is just to find a way to let you in and just start with the stuff you like and see what what tickles your fantasy.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, that is it for this week. Say goodbye, bitch.
Jerk.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.